Hello, everybody. Today I'm going to be talking about Fury Warrior and the spec we got, and some of the features, some of the cool changes we got in the Karazhan patch, and how I feel about them. We got to try these things out for about 2 weeks now, or at least it feels like 2 weeks. I've been playing a bit of WoW here and there, went to couple of raids, maybe 3 raids, and now I got a feel for things. So I just wanna share my opinion basically. Now, the first thing is I was originally kind of down on the whole warrior changes and weapon skill changes in general. And then after giving it some thought and speaking with a few guildies, I was kind of positive about the changes because making other, like, this whole class rebalance thing is kind of a nice way to just enhance the game, in my opinion. Makes every fantasy possible, and I think that's good. Now, the weapon skill changes, I'm still not a huge fan of, because right now, as it stands, the higher the weapon skill, the better it is, and farming all that weapon skill feels kind of bad. Also, just those arbitrary books that you have to money dump into do feel kind of bad, to be honest. It's just something that the casters don't have to do, and is such a huge money dump for warriors that I can't even begin to describe it. And it just gives you 5 skill. It's not really that impactful, and you're just expected to have it, and you should probably have it, and that's it. Yeah, so not a big fan of that. I don't know what they were thinking with the books thing. I'm glad there's more weapon skill found across the game. Like, they buffed a lot of items with certain weapon skills. That's pretty good. But yeah, right now I'm not that happy with it. Now, the next thing I'd like to talk about is this. Let me just. Now, the next thing is this Warrior Fury talent tree, which seems like a pretty interesting talent tree, to be honest. Fury right now is split between a couple of talents. As you see here, this is basically what I believe would be the most optimal way to play it. I believe that having 5 points in improved shouts is quite mandatory, especially if you don't have like a real pumper guild that just designates one warrior or a couple of warriors to have improved shouts, and then the rest can go, like Unbridled Wrath or something. But yeah, we're being split between improved shouts, Unbridled Wrath, Blood Drinker, and improved Whirlwind. And it's a really nice trilemma: what to get, what not to get, what to skip. For example, we could go like this, we could go like this, we could do a split of the two. Personally, I believe 1 point in improved Whirlwind reduces the cooldown by 1 second. I think that's the value point, because you get like 100% reduction. Then with another point, you get a 200% increase in talent cost, but only 150% value. And the third one kind of balances out, but I still don't think you need 2 seconds of reduced Whirlwind. 1 point in Blood Drinker does help on some bosses that deal a lot of AoE damage, and that's kind of nice. Though, you know, there might be a case for you not to take Blood Drinker at all, and maybe you could just go 1 value point into Unbridled Rage, Unbridled Wrath, so you actually do have a chance to generate an additional rage point, which, to be honest, I don't think Unbridled Wrath is that Unbridled Wrath is that important, because 1 point of additional rage is really nothing, especially if you have like if you have shaman totems. This is not noticeable at all. Flame Tongue and Wind Fury give you so much rage. It's insane. The new rage generation mechanics feels so good. It's just so nice of them to redo the whole rage thing, and I think it's very much for the better. It feels incredible, to be honest. Now, Piercing Howl right here. I don't think I've ever had a need to use Piercing Howl in raids. In dungeons, it can prove quite useful, but in raids, I never, ever had a need to use Piercing Howl. You could always go 2 points into Improved Whirlwind. But this, like I said, I don't think is the value point. Same as Blood Drinker, same sort of value, 1% for 1 talent point, and then for the next talent point, you only get 0.5% of your maximum health healed. So I kind of like this setup. I think I might be going with this to my next raid. Though, as you can see, we got a couple of flexible points to spread around right here. Another very interesting thing is I see some people taking improved charge over improved overpower. Now, while stance dancing to battle stance to overpower mid fight is really difficult, and you often have too much rage to even consider it, there are times that you actually would do it. I'm not too sure about the benefit, but it is nice of an option to have. Improved charge is something I would say benefits you more in dungeons, because in raids, once somebody gets into a combat with the boss, basically the whole group, the whole raid is in combat, so you can't really charge in unless you're the main tank or something like that. So I don't like improved charge that much. Improved thunderclap really doesn't cut it at all. So I'm sticking with improved overpower. We went over on Bridal Wraith. Improved pommel, you know, there also might be a case for improved pommel for like dungeons and whatnot. If you're like the main tank of a guild and you only do dungeons, this might be kind of cute. And battlefield mobility would be considered, but it just feels so niche. Now that I think about battlefield mobility, I might like it more, since you might be able to intervene enough so that on certain bosses, pushback abilities, for example, Broodlord in BWL, you might be able to get back in with your intercept on every blast wave, and that might be a very nice addition. But this only comes into play on just a couple of bosses in the game. However, mobility is quite often a very much appreciated thing to have. You know, you can always go with more mobility. Now, improved blood rage. If this were to reduce the cooldown of your blood rage, this would be insane for Fury, because blood rage does provide you with that instant enrage. But yeah, no, not here. You just get more rage. So this is not really something we consider. And the last thing I'd like to talk about is the mechanic of self hitting yourself with Bloodthirst. Now, I love the power fantasy of a warrior, of a berserker, just not caring for their own health and just using their own life essence to basically pummel the opponents to the ground. I love that. I don't mind the self-inflicted attack. I wish it hurt more. I think that's a great change. However, there is a certain feel bad situation where the self-damage portion of this attack just doesn't crit. and it doesn't want to crit for a long period of time, and you're kind of enrage starved. And that creates this really feel bad situation where you are looking at other people just pumping their hearts out, and you're just praying for this enrage proc to happen, and it's just not happening and not happening and not happening. Then you look at your blood rage cooldown, and that's got like another 30 seconds to go, and you need like 6 more bloodthirsts to get to that point, and you just keep praying, but it's not happening. And yeah, I don't necessarily like that so much. I think it introduced a very specific situation to a spec that was really consistent with its damage output. Now you have this RNG thing in here that kind of, you know, destabilizes your damage a bit, and I'm not too big on that. I don't like it that much. One way I would fix this is, for example, I would put in a rule or a buff that every time Bloodthirst self-inflicted damage doesn't crit, you get extra Bloodthirst crit chance for self-damage. So let's say you would have every third Bloodthirst would be a guaranteed enrage. Now this would be a pretty big buff to Fury Warriors that you guarantee an enrage, but if you get lucky and proc enrages often, you're already skyrocketing on the DPS. This way you would just make that consistent. So yeah, those are my thoughts and opinions on the Fury Warrior 3 and the new changes that we got. Turtle WoW is a pretty cool server, and I enjoy playing it, and I hope you guys check it out and stay tuned for more. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.